Hello and welcome to All Killer No Filler. It is Friday afternoon, and I am here with some Pilothouse heavy hitters, including co-founder Kyle Hitchcox, and then media buyers Liam Robinson and Taylor Cain. They are new to All Killer No Filler, so Kyle and I promised we'd be gentle. And right off the top, go to directtoconsumer.co and sign up if you haven't yet. If you're looking for agency service, go to pilothouse.co. That's the advertising for today. Now into All Killer No Filler. Let's start with a value rocket, and I'm just going to keep rolling into the value rocket, which was one that we put out as almost like a throwaway in this week's newsletter. Just off the top, we basically said, even if your pumpkin spice latte is running low, read this quick fix copy tip. Open your ad copy with even if. And follow with an objection. This will shake the reader out of apathy and overcome an objection. What's great is as soon as we sent that out, we actually had someone within about 5 hours write back to us and mention that they used this exact technique in order to basically lower their CPA from 10 to 12 average to $3.50 average. Just this one little throwaway tip that we put in the top of the newsletter. People tried. And so if you haven't tried this, even if approach to starting your ads, it's definitely one that we suggest you try.
Eric, question.
Yes.
How did that perform in the email as a litmus test?
In terms of like whether it hooked people in to read the rest of the newsletter?
Yeah.
This is a good question. And I know I don't have a great answer for you. I'm going to go ahead and say it did very well, but I haven't looked at the litmus report on this yet to actually see how well. I know the last time I looked at litmus, which was just a few weeks ago, we had a 70% reading rate on our newsletter, which I was psyched about, but unfortunately, I don't have the data for you there, Kyle. I was going to say, but it harkens back to a podcast we did in one of our first or second podcasts where we talked about this simple linguistic method of saying it's true to start your ad text and then to go into something else. Why do you think these kinds of things work?
Sorry to interrupt Taylor, but I mean, I think it's just one of those things where it's obviously conducive to people wanting to find out, and it's a bit of a disruptor. We love to do similar things with quotations instead of just in headlines, and just really trying to shake up what people are scrolling and seeing. So I think it's really just that disruptive factor.
So often too, like it's like ads now. There's so many more ads than there were in the feed than before. If you can trigger something emotional before you sell the product, your chances of success are a lot higher. It really, I think, like that hanger, that hesitation, that like, wait, what is this, right? As opposed to like, here's a product, here's another product, here's another product. Catering to those emotional triggers first is something that we just love to do.
And to speak to that too, kind of iterating on that, it hooks the reader in and sets the stage really nicely for presenting the competitive advantage of your brand or your product in a way where they're already engaged, and now they're really engaging with what those differences are. So we've seen tremendous CPA and conversion rate shifts from testing things like this.
I got one more. Dash arrow, capital W, wait, exclamation mark. This deal won't last, ... Every single time out of the gate, it works. It may not last, but it works. And I've done it for 1.5 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love arrows to point down and then to point across to the CPA. Yeah, it's a CTA.
That's perfect. Okay, cool. Well, we want to hear, we want you to try a few of these pattern disrupts, try a few simple words at the beginning. We'll write out the exact note that Hitchcox just made there. We want to hear whether they work for you, whether they lower your cost per action. Let's get into something we've been talking about for the last little while. We spent our whole podcast last week talking a little bit about the change that's coming with Facebook deprecating their 28-day conversion window. And then we got news yesterday. Who wants to take what that news was? Hitchcox, why don't you jump in?
So Facebook was going to go from 28-day attribution down to 7, at least for the JavaScript pixel. And they had a big push on for everyone to get server to server. As an agency, we were scrambling, trying to be proactive, trying to figure out our billing models. Everything's going to change. Chaos.
Can you back up one sec? Because we actually didn't talk about this last week. In case there's anyone new who's listening to this, can you just explain what that actually means in terms of the conversion window?
Sure. So Facebook's default conversion window in your reporting, you can obviously view the different timelines, or if it's a view conversion or a click conversion, but most of you listening likely know this. You can change the conversion window one day click, one day view, so on. So Facebook was basically deprecating 28-day view and 1-day click down to 7-day view and 1-day click.
Which means that they would count it as a conversion when someone would click on an ad within 28 days, regardless of what else happens in their customer journey within that 28-day window. If they've clicked on your ad, you would be attributed that conversion.
Yes, and a lot of performance people still do 1-day click, 1-day view only, especially in the affiliate space, because that's where you're getting paid. However, we're a deep integration partner, so we're working on emails, everything else. The story, and Taylor's going to get into this in a sec. The story is that those longer conversions matter, and Facebook was changing this to be proactive to combat browser changes coming in 2021. However, there was a bunch of kickback from partners like us and bigger brands spending gazillions of dollars. So Facebook pulled the plug.
Don't we have enough to worry about this Q4? You're going to layer on this 28-day change, and I feel like they just decided, okay, that these guys have been through a lot.
Yeah, I think so. We've done enough to you in the last 5 years.
That's awesome. Nice. Anything else to add there, Taylor? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kyle.
There's one important thing to note is that we measured all of our accounts, and the 28-day to 7-day view, if that transition, if there's people thinking about that, it's actually, you lose about 20% attributable revenue in the Facebook platform. So the idea then is to offset that with the server-to-server implementation, which is now easily accessible in Shopify. They've been trying to get us to integrate server-to-server across our bigger accounts for about 6 months, private conversations, blah, 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 blah. However, now anyone can do that. The JavaScript pixel with server-to-server allows you to get basically more data. And over the next 3, 6, 9 months, I suspect that Facebook will collect that data and see what performance impacts that has on their algorithm.
Very cool. And speaking of server to server, to jump into that, like, can someone paint a picture of, I have a pretty clear idea of this. I've been in affiliate marketing now since 2008 or so. So I'm aware that, server to server is sort of, a powerful way to track things. Just take us back to preschool though, on what server to server actually means. And then Taylor, if you could talk a little bit about like how we're actually implementing it with some clients.
Totally, yeah. So server to server, as Kyle mentioned, is now super accessible through Shopify. Basically how that works is it's the way the data communicates back from that one side to the other. So it basically means we can kind of in quick and simple terms, it means that there's more opportunity for deeper funnel optimization events, higher kind of accuracy confidence, depending on what's happening in the browser where the pixel relies on that. So in other words, it's actually a really exciting opportunity, especially with it becoming more standard and faster implementation practices as well, more accessible for really all brands using Shopify and things like that. So it's really exciting. It basically means we can do a lot of things like seeing how when it comes to the 28-day window and things like that, when we're working with email, working with other platforms outside of Facebook, Google, things like that, we want to see that full journey. And so for us to be able to customize that more very quickly, very efficiently within our goals, and then utilize all that data as we're looking at the entire journey someone takes to purchase, repurchase, things like that, it really gives us a lot of scale power.
And just speak about to the accuracy a little bit, because that's something I really remember from the affiliate days is how much like breakage you end up with in cookie-based and pixel-based systems. I'm curious, Eitchcox, from your experience, like, are we going to see as much of an increase? Like, basically, we went from cookies to server in the affiliate world. We're going from a cookie-based pixel in the current world. How much of a boost in sort of like accuracy do you think we could be seeing from this?
Sure. So when you and I worked at a company called Never Blue back in the day, it's got a different name now, but I won't tarnish it.
Always Never Blue.
Yeah, for sure. Their mantra, I was an account exec, I managed advertisers. There was what the advertisers would send us as an invoice. And that was always 15% lower. Basically, there was a 15% margin purely based on breakage. So to your point specifically about JavaScript breaking, I'm just going to say 15%. It's going to vary. It's going to be based on browser. And we're seeing huge fluctuations and swings right now as different browsers are updating their policies, iOS updates, whatever. So server to server in theory is 100% accurate. And that's because the notification isn't browser dependent. It's coming from a server to another server.
Cool. And then talk a little bit about Taylor, about what we're doing with some. I know it's early days. We may not have hardcore data to share, but talk a little bit about what it's like getting that integrated. How easy it's been. What early returns look like.
Yeah. So big push for us this week has been diving into that more. And yeah, quite honestly, it's quite straightforward. There's some great documentation on Shopify for how to do it. We're seeing some really good accuracy match rates in one of the first clients I'm working with where we're testing it quite actively. And that's a pretty significant scale situation as well. So it's really important to us that it does work. And yeah, from conversations with Facebook reps and things like that too, learning more about some of the events we might be able to look at optimizing towards down the road here. So we'll have to stay tuned for that, but it's definitely exciting.
Nice. Bit of a brave new world with the server to server. It's funny. It's like this looming threat, but at the same time, it has more upside on the other side of it.
The upside's going to be way bigger.
Yeah, that's what you got to take away from this podcast. Nice. Okay, cool. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring Liam on the cast was he's doing some really cool work with one of our clients where we're building out a lot of custom Shopify. I just wanted to touch base with you on how that's going, what you've been able to see, the impacts you've been able to see from this custom, a little bit about the process of doing Shopify custom dev, a little bit about the early results we're seeing with this client.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're doing on Shopify bundles and subscriptions. Now after working with some Shopify developers, and really the goal was when we started working with a client is they're really focused on growth. Obviously part of that was using Facebook and all online channels to really grow that. They also have large retail space, and so part of their strategy is really just if we can be in the black with online, then that's going to be a win for us. And so our strategy, obviously, when you increase spend, we know that conversion rates and CPAs tend to see varied performance and tend to be worse with scale. So we kind of one of the first major moves we made was let's figure out what products we're going to put together. Let's find the quantities and types of products that are going to play nice together. We did a lot of testing off of Shopify. So we were building basically custom pages with a variety of different offers. So whether that was just, say the same product in different quantities and trying to push people, to picking different bundles, or that would be, different series and combinations of different products and really seeing, what resonated best with people and with the intent just being, let's get that average order value up. And also let's figure out, from those wins, like what do people want to subscribe to? And basically the plan is once we were able to kind of get some of that data, see what the winning offers were, in terms of quantity and products, let's work with developers to really take those winnings and add them onto the Shopify product pages. And that's really where the kind of data pointed. It was, let's get on individual product pages, let's upsell people basically more of the same products, opposed to let's build out kind of like a bundles page that has a bunch of different combinations, or a custom bundle builder. Not to say that those aren't good options, it's just that a lot of the time it's a lot more intensive build out, and in this case keeping it simple really worked well, and they were able to double, sometimes triple their average order values.
Just to frame that a little bit, this is a health product. It's a Canadian business. And then how many SKUs do they have, Liam?
They have over 10 SKUs. Yeah.
Over 10 SKUs. So you were using pre-sale pages to kind of pick and choose your best winners. And then from what I'm deducting, you would then go to your dev team and make those adjustments on the product pages.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it was really just, when we started working with them, it was, obviously like any page, you can select quantity, you can order as many as you want, but there wasn't really a flow that incentivized people to, add more. There was no visual representation or incentive to increase your AOV. And so really the idea here was, obviously, we kind of did the offsite research into what are these upsells and bundle combinations going to be. Yeah, what was that?
I was going to say, go through kind of like your best funnel, right? So you guys built this thing. Explain what that is, upsell, post-sell, post-click purchase, or post-purchase upsell, whatever they were. Talk about subscription, and then get into the challenges you face after 3 months of data.
Yeah. So original build was really simple. We basically, when we started working with them, it was, product A, you go to the page, you can buy one of product A. If you buy two, you get free shipping. It was a really simple offer. But what we did was the first build was we're going to go, it's off-site, so it's not on Shopify, it's our own page. And we basically kind of, organize the offer into 3 sections. There's that you can buy one of these, or you could buy 3, or you could buy 5. And so, keeping it simple, really, just wanting to, the key there is like the messaging and supporting those offers. You want, typically you're going to see that people go for the middle option, which is you kind of frame that as the most popular. In this case, the 5-pack was framed as the best deal. And obviously you're going to tier discounting accordingly. From there, what we really did was, seeing success, we shifted around the actual discounting just to kind of, match, be proportional in terms of to the actual quantity people were buying. But then what we did was we're able to use tools like CardHook and really get some post-purchase upsells going where, people would buy the 3 of the same product that they were interested in. And so, what we were really doing is we're saying, hey, we know you're interested in this product, you're on this product page, how much of it do you want? And then once you pick that, we were hitting them, and you actually fulfill that purchase. Then we're coming in after the fact with one-click post-purchase upsell saying, hey, this is the most frequently purchased, product with what you purchased here, and allowing people to kind of, try other products that they, didn't purchase in that, first event. So that was another kind of way on top of already bundling, adding an upsell to get that AOV up.
And what sort of increases have we been able to see? Are you able to say like a sort of percent lift that we've been able to see from especially these like one-click upsell moves?
Yeah, well, the one-click upsells, I know we had a really good take rate. It was anywhere from 15-20% of people that were getting hit with these upsells were taking them. And then in terms of the like actual AOV, when we started working with this client, it was around $30-$35, and the reason for that, these products are typically priced at about $20, and then they have a lower price point item that's like around $5 or $6. But the only push to buy more was that you get free shipping on orders over $35. And so now on Facebook and just even organic Shopify, because of the changes we made, we're seeing AOVs in the $60 to $65 range. So we've more than doubled the average order value, and that's really allowed us to kind of access that additional scale because we have more room with CPAs.
The really cool thing too, like that's amazing, and we love those stories. The really cool thing too is that they've since been picked up in 2 major retailers across the country, major. And so with that extra AOV, and you look at like the compounding success of campaigns and all that stuff, direct response marketers, Facebook people, Google people, there's this whole other world where you're getting lots of eyeballs. Retailers are going to start reaching out to you, and that happened with this brand. So, we started early. They actually started at a loss with us. We did some big spending, and it's really upped kind of their overall, including their retail, because they were a retail first business, but it created a draw.
Nice. That's a great story. And there's so many retail first brands out there, and so many on the list with D2C. It's so cool to hear. I'm excited for like a bit of a story or case study we can put together eventually over a long period with this client to show. Yeah, I think it's important to say that we started at that loss, to spend into the data to figure it out, and just to see the way it's climbing out and the way it's all coming together with their retail presence is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and one thing that we haven't even really touched on there is subscriptions. So they weren't doing any subscriptions before. That was one of their key objectives. And we're doing a lot of forecasting right now just into budgets for next year and really what are the levers going to be to kind of unlock those next levels of scale. And like 2 of the most important factors that are going to make or break next year are the subscription take and the lifetime expected subscription length. And in terms, we've built out Excel sheets really that are allowing us to kind of change these variables and allow us to forecast performance. And those two metrics specifically are swinging their bottom line like no other metrics that we're measuring. And so that's a huge objective for us. And if we have to pay developers, $5,000-$10,000 to increase our subscription take by 15%, that could be a swing of being in the red or being way in the black next year, along with like retention strategies on their actual subscription portals. Those are the things that are really going to make or break our relationship with them.
That's cool. One quick note on the API stuff that I meant to cover is they are giving away some crazy bonuses right now for using this API system. So that was one other situation I wanted to chat about there. Did you guys have anything on that? Like what is Facebook actually offering to jump over to the Facebook API, the conversion API?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So I know that they do have coupons based on the requirements of between $5,000 and $20,000.
Cool. So that's definitely something to jump on here. And the last thing I
were 5 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a lot of money, guys. Go do it.
Go do it.
Just on that too. If you're a big spending account, we have an account we're spending like 1.2 million pounds a month, give or take on a month or day or whatever. But ad credits, if you're a big spender, you can go get major ad credits for a test. So go do that, knock on your rep's door and get some free cash.
Nice. That's great advice. There's one last thing I wanted to chat about a little bit. I know we have a lot of agencies that watch this, a lot of marketers. I think agency structure, how you build out your team in these agencies is just so critical. I'm interested. We have two of our onboarding team here. I wondered if you guys could talk a little bit about the change at Pilothouse and what it's looking like on the onboarding team, how you guys are liking this role and how it's working.
That's our secret sauce.
Oh, we don't give that. We give all our secret sauce.
So, I mean, you're an online marketing business. Everything is everywhere. It's hard to keep track, client happiness, staff happiness. And as you're building teams and training people, their jobs and roles are changing every day. And so we just put a core group of people in a frontline effort, the mercenary crew. And what we're doing is aligning clients' objectives with our internal capacity. And we're doing that from a 1 to 3 month period. So that includes everything from organizing all the copy, your pages, your creative. That's happening, day one. That's being organized the right way. Right buyers on the right account, personality, support teams and systems around that. So that, we have this mantra, like the first 30 days are everything. And so we just built this team to support the first 30 days to really ensure that we can get out of the gates strong and early.
Nice. And you bring on a heavy hitter like Taylor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's been awesome so far being a part of it. And yeah, exactly as Kyle said, you get like Kyle, myself, some other team members working together to formulate the strategy, oversee all the systems, the teams on it. You get awesome buyers and team members too, like Liam, who are in there in the front end every day, working hard, communicating with us. So it's really awesome. The systems have been great. We're seeing some good results too out of the gate. So it's definitely exciting. It's
just a way to put our best foot forward, right? To put our sort of most, our most experienced team on those first 30 days to make sure that we get enough outcomes that allow us to have these long-term client relationships where we hand them off to other buyers as well. It's cool to see. Nice. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty good. I think we were all killer today. Was there anything else to add from any of the peanut gallery here about high value tips for the D2C audience?
Come out of the gates on campaigns with your angle testing. I keep saying that, but people often are just promoting products and there's a whole bunch of scale available for those people that are triggering emotions with different angles, and just figure out how to do that. I say it every time, but literally that's all we do.
Nice. That's what it is. We've bottled hustle, and you can find it over at pilothouse.co. Find us there. Find us at directtoconsumer.co if you're interested in our weekly newsletter. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're liking this content. Make sure you're sharing it. We got some exciting things coming down on the D2C pipeline and some really exciting things on the Pilothouse side too. So thanks for taking the time today, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.